The live cattle export ban may have been lifted, but some Queensland producers are still trying to make up for the pause. The country's only all-Indigenous cattle station in the Gulf has slashed its workforce. Reporter Penny Timms visited Delta Downs and filed this report from Normanton.
Delta Downs has a long and proud history. 30 years ago, it became the first Australian cattle station to be leased and run by traditional owners. It weathered a political and racial storm at the time. Then Premier Joe Bjelke-Petersen threatened to refuse to renew the lease. But within 2 decades, the traditional owners had proven the naysayers wrong. Delta Downs had become one of the top cattle stations in the country, stretching almost 400,000 hectares, including 120 kilometres of Gulf of Carpentaria coastal frontage. It runs around 41,000 head of cattle. Manager Paul Edwards says it's built on strong community foundations. For the most part, only local Indigenous workers are employed here. And that's providing real opportunity. Many of those who work on the station have troubled pasts or are considered in an at-risk category. Some continue to grapple with the law. Delta is a safe haven away from drugs and alcohol.
It's very important in employment, in upskilling our people for the outside. We build their confidence up in themselves.
But the property predominantly provides steers and cull females for the live export trade. And the owners say the federal government's ban on live cattle exports to Indonesia has put all that at risk.
If we was given 3 months or 4 months to prepare for the ban, it wouldn't have been as hard as it was. And we would have probably pushed through, you know. But to ban something in 5 minutes with a drop of the hat is no good, not for the cattle industry.
The ban, imposed because of cruelty in some Indonesian abattoirs, was lifted after 1 month. But that was long enough to interrupt the supply chain. Delta Downs practically neighbours a live export facility at the port of Corumba. But that outlet was closed to them, and paying to freight stock to southern markets was something those here never banked on.
It's been huge. It's virtually been one season gone. The exporter that operates out of here is a small guy, so he's not a Wellard or an Elders. So he didn't come back online until about end of September, which is pretty much at the end of our selling season anyhow, or our cattle are getting too heavy over that 350 kilos. So we virtually lost a season.
It was a blow the Gulf graziers didn't need. They were just seeing some recovery from back-to-back destructive wet seasons.
We thought we were just coming out of it, and with the drop of the hat with the live export with the ban on us, that really killed us. You can see a flood coming, you can see water coming, but you can't see a ban like that from the government in 5 minutes. So we had to pay staff off early.
The combined impact has been heartbreaking for the close-knit community.
You know, it's pretty simple business. When your income doesn't match up, you know, your costs have got to go down. And obviously wages is one of the big ticket items in any budget. So it's normally the first thing that gets slashed.
Delta Downs usually hires around 30 stock hands. Half have been laid off. Management at Delta Downs is concerned it won't be able to rehire much of its workforce until April next year. That's around 5 or 6 months unemployment for many of its workers who were sourced locally from Normanton.
Now they're sitting, I say that they're living from Centrelink Day to Centrelink Day, drinking alcohol, and just partying with what they got, I suppose. Where they should have been here working and looking forward to Christmas with money in their bank account.
And the usual wet season layoff of 3 months has had to be extended. But in most cases, the workers are also the breadwinners for their families, not to mention highly talented stockmen.
Most of the guys that incredible workers sitting in jail, and it's wrong. Well, they should have been sitting here and upskilling our younger people that's, down coming up to the ranks.
With yet another wet season imminent, little can be done to turn things around now. But at Delta Downs, as always, they'll look to the future.
They always say that something bad, something good comes out of it. We have to wait for the good, so hopefully the cattle prices come up so we can get out of debt.